What was you feeling when they told you another plane had hit elsewhere in Washington, D.C.?
My point, that we're under attack, and who knows what was going to happen. I mean, remember, until later in the day when it stabilized, we were not just working on trying to save people and mitigate, and we were working on this could be 5 more attacks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could be. So the first thing we did originally is we closed down the bridges and tunnels,
mm-hmm.
so nobody else would come in. So that whatever number of people we had in the city were frozen.
Yeah.
And then we tried to get them out.
Sure, yeah.
At the same time, we closed the bridges and tunnels because in the first World Trade Center attack, it had been planned in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And we particularly wanted nobody coming in from New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Now, since that time, we had infiltrated those mosques, which became very controversial later, but I think it was a brilliant thing to do.
Yeah.
And we knew that they probably were not the cause of it because we knew everything going on in those mosques.
Right.
And they had gotten no intelligence about this.
Mm-hmm.
So and they were not connected to Al Qaeda.
Right.
And we were pretty certain it was bin Laden
Mm-hmm.
because of the trials there and because of the warnings we had. We had been warned during the Millennium celebration in the end of '99
mm-hmm.
that there was going to be an attack at the New Year's celebration.
Ah.
And that was going to be from bin Laden.
Mm-hmm.
And as we got closer, the intelligence turned out to be less and less reliable.
Mm-hmm.
And I did really consider canceling it, but I didn't. And instead, we for about 2 weeks, we did everything we could to make that area safe.
Yeah.
We went below ground. I mean, there's a whole city in New York right below ground.
Yeah.
We secured that. On New Year's Eve, there were police officers below ground, believe it or not,
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that nobody could get in there. And that night, when I walked up to press down the button that brings down the ball,
Yeah.
which, by the way, is not really true. It comes down automatically, and you press a button, and you better get it right, otherwise you look stupid.
Right.
But they try to make it look like that.
Mm-hmm.
I probably don't trust the mayor to do it on time.
Yeah.
When I walked up those steps, it was the only time in my life where I thought I might get shot. Because they had told us so much about attacks. I thought, boy, they just really can't protect you.
Yeah.
Now, I have had a lot of experience with protection. I was the Associate Attorney General when Ronald Reagan was shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I helped arrest Hinckley. And I helped to rearrange his security afterwards. So I was kind of an expert even on my own security.
Yeah.
Because I had done it for many, many other people.
Right.
And I've been threatened numerous times, and it never bothered me.
Yeah.
That was the one time I looked at the buildings, and I thought about, boy, all they had to do is put one person in there. It's a good shot, and
Right.
I'm gone.
Right.
And
It's
I
interesting.
said,
Security is such an interesting thing. Homeland Security has a huge job that they have to get it right every time and be prepared every time.
100%.
And terrorists only have to get it right once.
and they don't. Most of the time, they get it wrong. Think of all the terrorists we catch.
Yeah. Right.
But when they get it right, it's
Devastating.
it's devastating.
Yeah.
It's like looking for it's like looking for a little thimble in a big giant bale of hay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the other thing strange about it, Rachel. After it happens, you can go back and find the things you should have looked at,
Yeah.
but they were buried.
Right.
And I've never been a second guesser about this, except a few times where it was obvious. Some of the latest attacks that have taken place, it seems to me something's wrong in our warning system because you've had these people that are mentally ill,
Yeah.
and they've threatened and they've been online. I think particularly the Boston Marathon. That guy had gone to Russia.
Yeah.
The FBI decided not to continue, but didn't turn it over to the local police.
Right.
I'd have gone crazy when I was the mayor if they did that to me.
Right.
If they had found this guy who was all involved with the Chechen rebels, had just gone to Russia, but decided, oh, we don't have enough resources, and didn't let the New York City Police Department know, that'd have been a revolution. I mean, I would have gone crazy.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to do that. You have to stage that in government to get attention. So I think we've gotten sloppy. But the reality is that one, when you found the things that warned about it, they were buried so far in the ground, it'd be hard to say that anybody did anything wrong in not finding it out.
Right, right. After the fact.
And then the theories, the
easier to see.
conspiracy theories about it disgust me.
Yeah.
They really disgust
what are
me.
your feelings
It
about
almost
that?
seems it's sacrilegious, you know. I know what happened. Everybody knows what happened.
So you don't believe it was an inside job like some people?
Like the CIA did it or some crazy thing like that? No, Bush did. Bush did it. Give me a break. Give me a break. The poor man, you know, I was with the man a lot during that 4-week period. The man was ripped apart over it, like I was, and he did everything. There's not a damn thing we asked him for he didn't do for us.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a. I once said that no matter what happens with George Bush, just for the way he reacted after September 11, he'll be a great president.
Yeah.
And particularly by hitting them back so fast. We'd have gotten attacked again if he didn't. I mean, I know that's very controversial, but particularly the Afghan war was totally necessary to sock him in the head because Clinton had been too easy on him. Bin Laden took out a naval ship, other attacks, and we'd go bomb a field. We'd go bomb an empty field. You might as well tell him attack again.
Right.
And I remember as I was walking along, and this gets a little political, I told Bernie, thank God Gore didn't get elected. Because I figured if Gore got elected, he might, you know, he might give him the Nobel Peace Prize, who knows. But he sure wouldn't hit him hard.
Yeah.
And I knew Bush was a tough guy.
Right.
And that there'd be a hell of a reaction. Now, you can start debating the Iraq war and all that, but that immediate reaction, I think, was critical to our not being attacked again. And it also took out their resources. I mean, those soldiers who were on horses, and those people are incredible.
Right.
You know, none of them knew how to ride horses.
Yeah.
I met them. They came and brought me, and I too bad we're not at home, because I have at home a knife and a headdress of the first guy they killed.
Wow.
And they brought it to me with a plaque. And they said, I want you to take this for the people of the city.
Wow.
I really should give that to the museum. I think I will.
Yes, that's amazing. So let's get back to the day of September 11th. What were your feelings when the first tower came down? And where were you exactly?
I was after I finished with the fire department chief, I went back to the headquarters, the temporary headquarters we had set up.
And what street was this on?
So it was on Park Place and Barrow.
Okay.
So we walked in. The police department remarkably had already transformed it. And they were all on the phone. And it seemed to me as I walked in, said the White House is on the phone for you. So I went into one office, and it was this gentleman that I mentioned who worked for the president. And I said, I'd like to talk to the president. And he said, he said, we're evacuating the White House, and the vice president will call you back. So I had an image in my head that they were evacuating the president from the White House. When he said, I did not realize the president was in Florida and speaking to children, and you know what eventually was the case. So that was somewhat ominous when he said that. I thought, oh my God, the White House is being evacuated. He said, the vice president will call you back very, very shortly, but you have air protection. Be alert to the fact that there could be other attacks. I said, we're anticipating ground attacks, that they might follow this up. They might have people in the city and other cities. My police department is right now securing our 130 locations. So we kept a list of terrorist targets. This started, even before the 93 attack. And remember, I had been U.S. attorney
Right.
before, which was very helpful because I was very familiar with the Joint Terrorism Task Force. I prosecuted their cases. So the Joint Terrorism Task Force, which is a great idea and started in New York, FBI, police department together, sharing intelligence. We used to use arrests of terrorists, and then we would go through, or the FBI would go through their targets, and from that we would create a list of their most their priority targets, from 1 to about 130, and we kept changing it depending on who we arrested.
Sure.
So let's say we had, for example, killed several terrorists in Brooklyn about a year earlier. So we took out of that building all kinds of plans. And based on those plans, and then whatever happened all around the country, which we would give that to the FBI. They would give us, we would come up with this list. And the number one target on the list was not the World Trade Center. It was the stock exchange. Particularly, almost every terrorist that I ever was involved in arresting or got intelligence about, they had a great interest in our bridges and tunnels.
Yeah.
They had all kinds of plans for our bridges and tunnels. In fact, about a year earlier, we had killed a guy who had all of the plans for a subway connection in Brooklyn. And we shot him in the building he was in as he was going for the toggle switch to blow up the building.
Oh, wow.
So we had a lot of experience with terrorism, but not this particular kind.
Yeah.